Om Shri Ganeshaya Namo Namah. Greetings to everyone world over, all our brothers and sisters across the globe, wherever you are. We extend you a very warm welcome today on the third day of our G20 Run of Kutch, which is hosting the Tourism Working Group meeting from world over. Delegates are extremely happy, enjoying, having a wonderful time. And of course, today is the concluding day of the working group first meeting, which has taken place on 7th, 8th, and 9th. Let's recapitulate. And today, on Thursday, 9th of February, we extend you a very warm welcome. Let's travel together. On behalf of ICSI, International Chamber for Service Industry, we extend you a very warm welcome. G20, it has got the agenda, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. And that's what we have been talking in our programs earlier as well with all of you. I'm pretty sure you all will recollect and remember. Now, what is G20? What is the group of G20? If you recall, we have covered with you earlier that before G20, there was a G7 and there was a G8. G8 में से रशिया निकाल लिया, उसके बाद G7 रह गया. Then it was realized, particularly after the global challenges way back in 2008, when the financial crisis had come. Once again, it was discussed, decided. And if you remember, 1996, 97, there were crises in Asian continent also, which started from Thailand. And those financial crises, when you talk about and when you look at, you remember. The group of G20, it's a mix of developed nations and developing nations from world over. And for 1 year, the command and the presidentship is being handed over to one country, which takes on responsibility. And if you see, before India, now in 2023, our country has taken the responsibility and the presidentship. Just before us, we had Indonesia, that is 2022. And before that, you had Italy. And from Italy, it had come to Indonesia. From Indonesia, it has come to India. And next year, it will go to Brazil. That means 2024. So this is known as Troika. That means 3 countries together. So over here, you can see Indonesia, India, and Brazil. That is your G20 when you talk about. So welcome to Run of Kutch. Welcome to the beautiful state of Gujarat. And right over here, the first tourism working group meeting, 3 days, and delegates had a wonderful time. This is right from their arrival. When they landed over there, they had gone across, and look at them smiling, happy, and coming to the Bhuj airport. And from there, by road, they are going to the location. And here on 7th, when the G20 summit started, and Honorable Union, our tourism, culture, and donor minister, and along with that, Shri Amitabh Kanchi, the Sherpa for G20 summit, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam for India. Now over here, let's proceed. Let's see the 5 priority areas: green tourism, digitization, and then skills, tourism, micro, small, medium enterprise, and destination management. These 5 priority areas being taken. On the first day, that's on 7th of February, in the Run of Kutch, the Union Minister for Tourism, Culture, and Donor, he delivered a keynote address, and that was rural tourism for community empowerment and poverty elevation. And Shri G. Kishan Reddy ji, he delivered and he inaugurated, and he gave the addressing, the addressing notes of to the G20 delegates, and they all enjoyed over there. Here you have got other delegates also coming, and here the Honorable Union Tourism Minister is addressing, and down below you can see Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, and another union minister also over here, along with other delegates. Here you can see in picture in Run of Kutch, Shri Arvind Singh Ji. He is Secretary Tourism, Government of India, and he's addressing over here. And a wonderful his picture at Welcome to India, One Earth, One Family, One Future, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Delegates going around, enjoying at different places, and having local culture and cuisine and festivities and costumes and souvenir, everything being enjoyed. And this is your G20 Bharat when you talk about 2023. G. Kishan Reddy ji, when he addressed and he gave the keynote address, he gave the details how the tourism once again is recovering. At the same time, he thanked the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, for having year 2023 as Visit India tourism year, and that's a focus on the inbound tourism for our country. With regard to other areas, the government is focusing on the safety and the well-being of the tourists, those will visit India, those are visiting India, to address the issues related to their safety. And at the same time, Tourism Minister also highlighted that some of the salient tourist attractions of India, such as India has got 40 UNESCO recognized heritage sites and 14 intangible cultural heritage elements, and birthplace of 4 religious faiths, that is your Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, and Hinduism. Now focused on rural tourism for the community empowerment and poverty alleviation, the Union Minister addressed the G20 Tourism Working Group first meet, and he delivered the keynote address. And he said that it is a matter of the great honor and responsibility when you talk about for India to assume G20 presidency at this critical moment when the world is facing a number of challenges. He also highlighted the fact that India is focused on using tourism as a vehicle for achieving sustainable development goals during India's G20 presidency. He also pointed out that tourism has the potential for generating maximum number of jobs with least investment, and so tourism can be a positive force for economic transformation, rural development, and community well-being. The panelists, they also shared their thoughts on ways to strengthen rural tourism and leverage it for the community development. Case studies were discussed over there with regard to rural tourism. So that was something fantastic where the rural tourism was given because India still live in villages and our villages are beautiful. People, those are coming to India, they want to see real India, authentic India, and rural tourism for community empowerment and poverty alleviation. When we talk about, the villages are the soul of India because the soul of India lives in these villages. And if we want to make India self-reliant, Atmanirbhar Bharat, then our villages, they play a key role, and particularly Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, which has also come up with the draft policy on draft national strategy for the tourism development, which is to be done. So rural development also is the key area right from 2021, where they focus on opportunities in the rural tourism, how these segments, they revitalizes local art, local craft, redeveloping rural areas and regenerating rural life. All that is the part which is taken over there, something very important. Now in the Run of Kutch, people going around enjoying and rural tourism of India. Now when we talk about rural tourism community, 4 चीजें बहुत important है. Rural life क्या है, country side में क्या है, rural की heritage क्या है, और वहां पर activities क्या है. If I talk about your life, rural life, that means your craft, your local events, your country food, your agri-tourism, your traditional music, and so on. That all is the part. When you talk about countryside, that means उस village के आसपास mountains, lakes, rivers, फॉरेस्ट, फ्लोरा एंड फौना, नेचुरल ब्यूटी। हेरिटेज की बातचीत करें तो ट्रेडिशनल, आर्किटेक्चरल, इंडस्ट्रियल हेरिटेज, प्री हिस्ट्री, castles, villages, and other things you can talk about. When you talk about rural activities, you can go around, you can see the birds, you can go for bicycle, cycling, fishing, walking, water sports, and other areas that can be taken care of. Now, there are three different layers we are talking over here: rural tourism, village tourism, and agri-tourism. If I'm talking about rural tourism, that means every tourism activity in rural area in a broader sense. When we get into village tourism, that means tourism activities settled in the countryside area of this particular concept. Then comes agri-tourism. When you talk about agri-tourism, tourism activities on the farms which provide specific kind of agri-tourism services. Now, if you talk about rural communities, what is rural life, what is rural area, what is rural heritage and culture, and rural activities. If you look at it, rural life, handicrafts, local activities, local food, farm tourism, all that you take into considerations over there, that is something very important which we consider. And when you talk about rural area, then of course your mountains, your lakes, your rivers, your forests, your natural areas. And when you look at rural heritage and culture, that means your traditional and industrial architecture, historical buildings, villages. And finally, when we talk about rural activities, that's once again important, like you're going for horse riding, biking, fishing, walking, water sports, and other activities which are available at that resort. Now, the community which has to get a maximum benefit, that is being taken as a central of the fulcrum. And then you have got rural life, you have got rural heritage, you have got rural activities. Now, what could be the activities that I would be very keen to share with you? You know, like whatsoever you're performing over there, you're going for horse riding, you're going for bike riding, you're going for hiking, you're going for fishing, or some other activity whichever has to take place here. And that we take into consideration. What could be the benefits of rural tourism? That is again very important. अब उस गांव के अंदर एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन होगी, विमेन एम्पावरमेंट होगी, प्रिजर्वेशन ऑफ लोकल ट्रेडिशन होगा. आप कल्चर में जब आप कल्चर डिस्प्ले करते हैं तो आप लोकल कल्चर दिखाते भी हैं और बचाते भी हैं. देन यू नो समवेयर close very, very carefully, that is reducing the urban drift. लोग शहर ना जाएं, unnecessary ना जाएं, उन सब सुविधाओं को उनके नेटिव प्लेसेस के पास लेकर आए, तो it may get better results because India has to get skilled properly. Then comes cultural exchange and builds community pride, provides entrepreneurship opportunities, and it provides sustainable development. That is something very important which we all have to understand. Now, when you talk about rural tourism, वहाँ एक्टिविटीज क्या हैं, फिर रूरल के अंदर अकोमोडेशन कैसी है, वहाँ पर हॉलिडे लेजर एक्टिविटीज क्या रहती हैं, अगर उन चीजों को देखें तो देन यू गेट द प्रैक्टिकल इंसाइट ऑफ रूरल टूरिज्म. फिर ये सस्टेनेबल होना चाहिए, दैट इज समथिंग वेरी चैलेंजिंग. फिर रूरल एनवायरनमेंट हमको समझनी होगी, फिर हमको एडिशनल जो इनकम ऑफ रूरल फैमिलीज है उसके बारे में भी ध्यान देना होगा. एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स रूरल कल्चर प्लेज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. तो जो हमारी लोकल रिसोर्सेज हैं उनको हम मैक्सिमम यूज करें. दे शुड बी बेनिफिशियल टू लोकल्स. अब यहाँ पर देखिए, जब हम रूरल टूरिज्म की बातचीत कर रहे हैं एंड यूनियन टूरिज्म मिनिस्टर गेव वंडरफुल द प्रेजेंटेशन which I could see, that is where he has tried to package everything the best possible way. अगर हम viability देखते हैं रूरल टूरिज्म की, तो इसका जो पैराडाइम है वो रूरल डेवलपमेंट में कहाँ कहाँ है. नेचुरल सीनरी है, पेनोरमिक नेचुरल ब्यूटी है, क्लाइमेट है, कल्चर है, बिजार लोकल कस्टम्स एंड ट्रेडिशंस. अडॉप्ट कर लीजिए जो वहाँ का लोकल है, बिकॉज यू ब्लेंड विद द लोकल एरिया. हेरिटेज यूनिकनेस है, सोशो कल्चरल इकोलॉजिकल डाइवर्सिटीज हैं, अब अगर हम इसकी बातचीत करते हैं टूरिज्म डेवलपमेंट की रूरल डेवलपमेंट के साथ मिलाकर, तो जहां तक आप रूरल टूरिज्म डेवलपमेंट की बात करते हैं, तो यू हैव टू फर्स्ट फाइंड द अट्रैक्शंस, यू हैव टू क्रिएट एमिनिटीज, देन यू हैव टू हैव नोटिफिकेशन, you have to have security related parameters and best possible precautions being taken so that no untoward incident takes place. Then coming on rural development के अंदर social development, economic development, environment development, how do you preserve that? That is something very important. Now, this is the G20 tourism working group meeting, and impact tourism के होंगे, economic impact, socio-cultural impact, environmental impact, and health impact. These four areas in the broad way we are taking. Now, benefits क्या है positive? जब आप रूरल टूरिज्म को प्रमोट करते हैं, what are the benefits? It helps you in improving the infrastructure, better leisure facilities, frequent social events, thereafter conservation of the local heritage and culture, improved lifestyle, restricting the brain drain. All that can take place जब लोगों को ये लगे कि जो बाहर मिलना है वो यहाँ भी मिलना है, then your feelings would be altogether different. फिर अगर हम लेकर चलते हैं तो रन ऑफ कच्छ के अंदर उन्होंने टेम्परेरी स्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट किए हैं, क्योंकि नवंबर, दिसंबर, जनवरी, फरवरी में वहां पर रन उत्सव होता है, which was started when Modi ji was state chief minister of Gujarat before moving to Delhi. So it's a long journey. And when you see over here, अब उसके अंदर टूरिज्म इंडस्ट्री की तरफ से क्या क्या चाहिए? एकोमोडेशन चाहिए, अट्रैक्शन चाहिए, उसके बाद टूर ऑपरेटर्स अपना काम करें, करियर्स अपना काम करें, and promotions and distribution, coordination agencies and retail services support. All this we take into consideration when we are talking about. अब उसको डिपेंड करता है कैसी शेप आप देते हैं, किस तरीके की देते हैं, तो वो बेसिकली प्लेज ए वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. अगर हम नॉर्थ ईस्ट में जाते हैं तो वहां का फ्लोरा एंड फौना बहुत रिच है, and it's a beautiful, amazing scenic beauties, our mountains, our meadows, and our rivers, and particularly our waterfalls, all green patches what you have got in Northeast. They are inviting, they are calling. Northeast is totally unexplored. फिर village tourism हमने आपसे जैसे discuss किया. So this is again something very important, because village tourism के अंदर हम locally उनको क्या provide कर सकते हैं, how close can we bring these tourists to our people. So see it over here, beautiful India, and this could be something emerging, the new concepts which we can take into consideration. So ladies and gentlemen, being a link between our brothers and sisters abroad and people, those are really caring, these 32 million plus people, they are wonderful people. They've got so much to do and they've got so much to share. So our chamber extends you look at the infrastructure which was created for delegates. So Run of Kutch, miles and miles, you have a look at it. I can move on and share a lot of things with you. Now, after this particular working group first meeting in Gujarat and from Run of Kutch, the ministry is planning to organize from 10th, 11th, and 12th, 3 days. You will have, the first global tourism investor summit that will take place at Delhi. Then, objective of the global tourism investor summit is to attract, the global investments in tourism and hospitality industry. इसके साथ साथ जो digital apps आ रहे हैं, वो skills में use होंगे. फिर माइस इंडस्ट्री की बातचीत की गई है. योर मीटिंग्स, इंसेंटिव्स, कॉन्फ्रेंसेस एंड एग्जीबिशन, इट्स ऑन द ग्रोइंग कर्व. एंड मिनिस्टर on Ministry of Tourism and Secretary also gave special talk about it, and he told how they are keen about. He also talked about adventure travel. So you got to see how the Adventure Travel World Summit in month of June 2023, we are planning a big event, and it will come in so nicely, because when you go for adventure travel, You go for water sports, you go for aero sports, you go for trekking, you go for mountaineering, you go for flora and fauna, you go for wildlife. All that is the part of it. Then comes G20 CEO Forum alongside the ministerial meeting by the WTTC in Goa. That's in month of June somewhere. And that is World Travel and Tourism Council. They will be giving their valuable inputs. So ladies and gentlemen, whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Let's come together for G20 Summit in India. Let's focus on tourism. Let's focus on education. Let's focus on skills. India awaits. We all can enjoy. We are grateful to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us from different locations, different places in India. And at the same time, you're touching north, south, east, west, and northeast India all together in our ventures, and you all can enjoy. You can go on to the YouTube channel. You can watch 1,812 videos, which we started on 25th of March 2020, when there was a complete lockdown. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, 3 days summit in the Run of Kutch of the Working Group Committee of Tourism, that gets over tonight. And 3 days we have given you, we have tried to give you maximum inputs, what all being deliberated. Rest all, you can have a look at it and support your own way to take it forward. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, look forward meeting you tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. with yet another powerful evening. Namaskar, khush rahiye, tandurust rahiye, chust rahiye, and wish you a wonderful